Hello, this is Rory with the Love Chat, and today's topic is my ex happy without me? Now, this is video number 46. If you have a question you'd like for me to consider featuring on the channel, please write it in a comment below. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe and hit like so that the channel can continue to grow. Now then, is my ex happy without me? This is a question that a lot of people are going to ask themselves really during the first 1 to 3 months of a breakup, and the big reason is because their validation is being really messed with. You see somebody that they cared about walked away, and so when you're taking a look at yourself, you're thinking, well, somebody who I was with for a good period of time and who formed a romantic relationship with me and formed a meaningful relationship with me walked away. And so it's completely reasonable to think at that time that I must have done something wrong. I wasn't enough somehow. And so during this period of a breakup, of course you're going to question your worth. Somebody who just cared about you for years at a time walked away from you. And so naturally, what happens during a time where you're being very down on yourself and your source of validation was removed? The obvious thing is you begin questioning your worth, and you begin questioning your ex's intentions. Do they still love me? Are they thinking about me? What can I do to get them back? All of these questions for the first several months are just non-stop. Luckily, as time goes on, they do diminish, they do begin to go away. However, we need to take the right course of action, and as I say in all of my videos, the right course of action is always to focus inward. You're feeling internally bad, right? And sad and upset, and what we need to do now is do the self-work, because that is what addresses the internal problems. Oftentimes, I hear a lot of people turn to external sources to solve internal problems. A lot of the time, dumpers do that, because they feel a void, and so what do? They turn to drinking and partying and possibly drugs, unfortunately, and they don't instead do the internal work to make themselves feel better. But you and I were smarter, right? If we're feeling bad inside, we're going to do work inside. Really, we're going to begin addressing our insecurities, and we're going to begin taking care of our anxieties. That is the internal work that needs to be done. And I can't stress enough how important that is, because when your ex turns around and doubts their decision, and they see that you are stronger and more attractive, better looking, and more interesting, more funny, more at peace, that makes you a prime candidate for reconciliation. But if they turn around and see the exact opposite, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to confirm their decision. Breaking up with this person was the right idea. Now, addressing those questions that you ask, things like, does my ex still love me? I can guarantee that if it's right after the breakup, yes, of course your ex still loves you. Now, every situation is different, and so it can be hard to give a blanket response that will appropriately answer every situation. I can't know every situation. And a lot of the times what some exes do is they build the breakup in the back of their mind, and they begin slowly pulling away from you. And they kind of fall out of love during that process. That does happen sometimes, but for the majority of the cases that I've seen, your ex still does love you and they still do care about you, but perhaps they've realized that it's not a good fit for them. At least at that moment. You have to remember that everything they're thinking and feeling, just like everything you are thinking and feeling, is a temporary state of being. We're not always going to feel that way. We're not always going to think that way. And I think the big reason that people have problems with this specific topic of does my ex still love me, is that it's completely not only counterintuitive, but paradoxical to think that your ex loves you and cares for you and cares about what happens to you, but that they don't want to be with you. But we have to remember that sometimes walking away is a loving decision, something that might be necessary for both of your growth. This may have been something completely necessary for both you and your ex to move forward in both of your lives. And what's important at this point is that as you're doing the personal work and as you're growing, you can trade up. Make sure that your next partner is a move upwards. And if it's your ex, well, make sure that your ex took the time to go and improve themselves as well. Remember that as you improve, and as you work on yourselves, and as you become more at peace, your value is raising, very literally raising. And so you want a partner who's on your level. You want someone who's a teammate and who is on your level, not somebody who's behind, not somebody who's ahead. And together you want to grow and become the best that you can be for each other and for yourselves. This is what creates a healthy relationship. So to surmise, does your ex still love you? Yes, most likely they do. And though I can't speak to each and every one of your specific situations, what I can promise you is that from my coaching, the majority of the people I speak to, both dumpers and dumpees, still do love one another. That's all I had for today. If you found my video helpful, I would be very grateful if you'd subscribe and hit like. Please leave a comment below and tell me what topics you'd like covered in the future. Also, if you'd like to do a Skype or email coaching, be sure to visit thelovechat.net/coaching. Until next time.